hills to book country to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday, it's focused on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information. Talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday. Focus.
Ladies and gentlemen, in Focus of Liberia Land, welcome to another edition of Breaking News, where we try to bring to you the most recent happenings in our nation's capital, Liberia, Monrovia. Welcome, and we hope you are in good health. Today seems to be rather odd day. Our reporters on the ground might be experiencing some technical difficulty, but the show must go on, as they say. In the news, the CPP yesterday held a closing ceremony. I guess they finally decided now that the elections are over, they should go separate ways. They came together as a coalition to be an opposition bloc to the ruling CDC administration. And if we remember, a lot of things exploded in that group. Unity Party and the ALP of Bernard Uri, Unity Party of the President Boakai, all left the party in fear or in furor that the things were not fair, or that somebody had manipulated the documents that brought them together. And they accused the standard bearer of the ANC, Mr. Benedict Cummings, of doing that. So they went on, if you remember, to still contest the election, with UP forming its own group, and the Liberty Party still under ability remaining, but they didn't fare very well in the election. As we remember, I think they got less than 1% of the vote. And so one would think that they were already dissolved, but they had their ceremony yesterday, and they went their separate ways. But they still want unity, folks. They still want to come together. I don't know. If that was me, you buy me first time. You buy me once. What did President Bush say? Fool me once, but fool me twice. No, you're not gonna fool me twice. So we'll see how that turns out. That's one of the news. The other news, if there's been so many burnings and fires in Monrovia, and of all places, the speaker house, as you well know, was caught on fire and burned considerably. Now, the speaker came out and said that none of his wires are substandard. In other words, there should have been all safety precautions taken. But then why? Why such a blazing? And if you saw the pictures of this fire, it was a raging fire. Speaker Fanati had a substantial bit of property. The building was huge, beautiful building. And for that whole thing to be engulfed in flames, you kind of wonder how. Well, they have launched an investigation. According to the speaker, he's going to bring people he knows from the diaspora, so that they can investigate this crime, or if it is a crime actually, and find out what was the source of this. So, but the point is, we've seen a series of it. Now, I've even heard of people talking about witchcraft. No. I want to believe you as a scientist. It's nothing like that. It's carelessness. We're not taking adequate precautions, and these things will happen. In fact, one of my best childhood friends, Poto, or his house burned on 19th Street, and he told me what happened. It was carelessness with petroleum, and it caught it was near flame. A boy brought gasoline near where they were cooking and spilled some of the gasoline, and it ignited. So a lot of these fires are not. Let's not go to superstition. There's a probable cause. And we need to go to the source of the cause and see how we can best remedy. But definitely user education. We need to educate our people how to avoid fires. Because tell you the truth, we still cook on coal, firewood. That's most of the cooking. I saw a reading. It's over 70-80% of our cooking is still done over fire. And if that is true, that means fire is going to be a hazard, and we must protect ourselves against it. Okay? The other thing we need to consider is there are frequently electrical outages in the country. And I can tell you, I worked in transmission distribution, and I controlled those outages. We had to, whenever we reach the maximum that we can support, we have to shut off certain circuits. In other words, we divide the whole country or whole city into circuits. Nukuta, Mama Point, GSA Road, all those different places have their individual circuit or their own line, and we control how much load we can carry by cutting off or turning on those lines. And if you keep on turning off and turning on the line, that in itself can cause a problem. Yes, because when the current or when power comes back, it comes back high, and that high surge can create a problem. So frequent power outage and on and out and on and out has to be insulated. You have to protect your appliances. You have to protect your wiring, you have to protect your building and all of that, you know. So that is another thing as well. Uh, what we will, what you can do though to prevent more and more fire outages like we've seen is educate the people how to prevent um, these outages, these occurrences, and all of that. So, what are we doing to do it? That's the fire service job, the police, the fire service, and anybody in government who has responsible, maybe the EPA. But let them know that the things they can do. That we should sponsor a campaign because it's not going to stop, and it's up to us to educate our people on these occurrences. I hope to be joined by my friend and partner in crime, the Mr. Gaiman. I hope he does come on here to join us. He is texting me now, and I'm trying to get him in here. Bear with me a little bit as I try to get him in so he can make his assessment of what's going on in Monrovia, Liberia. Just a minute here. I'm going to be bringing him in as soon as I can get this out to him. Okay. One more second, then I'll be there. One more second, and we should be able to do this. Okay. Let's copy. All right. All right. Here we go. And the other things in the news. I appreciate it. You know, this is the first quarter. The 90 days is almost over. And there was a pretty decent commentary by Amara Kone. And he wrote up all his accomplishments in the last 90 days. And to mention a few of the things he said, okay, to mention a few, he said he made successful engagement with development partners for funding integrity institutions. He played a role in forming the West Region Legislative Caucus. So it looked like the Bapalu era, all of them got their own caucus now in the Senate. He introduced a Presidential Transaction Act of 2024, so that next time we will have a smoother transition. As y'all know, when the CDC left, there was a lot of people taking things out of the offices, and the transition was not as smooth as it should have been. He talked about the signing of the War and Economic Crimes Coalition resolution, you know, and he also talked about they're reviewing the budget proposal. So, you know, this is what we do usually when you're at every checkpoint, 6 months, 3 months. You summarize what you've done. This gives people transparency. They see what you're doing. So I think this is very healthy that he is writing up his accomplishment over the past 90 days. And it seemed to be significant. I think he's representing a good example of what we expect from our representatives and our political leaders. I wish we see more of that. You know, I wish we do see more of that. But I think that was very good of him, and we want to see this example being followed. Let the people tell us what they've been doing. We're paying them a lot of money, right? Let them give us an idea of what they're doing. Speaking of the World Crimes Court, um, it's gaining some traction. The U.S. Senator, Mr. James Elroy Risch, he's a ranking member of the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He called the move a significant step. You know, they have been accused of, some have been saying that there's some external forces behind this World Crimes Court, and they mean to push it. So, what are your thoughts? Do you think this is going to happen or not? It looks, from all indications, it looks like it's going to happen because there are some heavy, heavy forces behind it all. And I I have reservations about this, and the reason I have reservations, do we still have enough evidence? Uh, I think a lot of the evidence has been lost. You know, I think many of the people that should have been prosecuted have died. So what will happen to those victims who never seen their justice? How will that help to heal the hurt, the pain, the damage when they can no longer seek? So is this war crimes court a solution for us to stop the impunity? For me, I believe the best thing to stop impunity is to punish those who are doing things actively. And once you start there with the ones who are doing things now, then you can start going back to those ones who did it before. But for me, I think we need to focus more on stopping impunity right now in its current stage. And then you move backward to get to all those historical acts of that require punishment. That's just my 2 cents. We also see that the country is now, we expect to hear the president give his 100 days markup. We want to know what has been accomplished for the last 100 days. I think we should expect that soon. It's in the pipeline. We also hear more and more talks coming from the avant-garde, the CDC. There's been some utterances of hypocrisy. They claim that they're not being this administration is not being fair. But these are the things I think we should expect, that that once you leave power, that anything that ensues will be against you, or you'll look at it that way. But so far, we've had peace. It's been peaceful, right? And and we have a lot to be thankful for. Mr. Gamer.
Yes, sir. Can you see me? Is my light okay?
Your lights are okay. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining.
Let me
Uh,
switch
our,
around.
our people on the ground today have not made any report at all. I'm not sure what is going on.
Okay.
So
Well,
I just went into some current affairs anyway.
okay.
You know, and one of the things I don't know if you saw the write up of Amara Kone. He
Yes.
gave a write up of his 90 days.
Oh no, I read some on his page, I think it was yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
where he criticized the present government about issues. I didn't see that. I was following. But anyway, go ahead. What does it say?
Okay, so he says he'd like to give a update on his accomplishment in
Okay.
the. He said one of the things they did was to analyze the proposed budget.
Okay.
Another thing, the suspension of the surcharge on petroleum pricing structure. That was
Okay.
the Waka issue the other day. And they also reviewed the revenue leakages in the forestry, agriculture, and mining and telecom sectors. Okay. They examined why there was so low dividend contribution by state-owned enterprises. The LEC, the LPRC, the LWSC. These have been poorly performing. In fact, they should have been independent, but they have been largely taking from the country's budget. You have any opinion on why they are performing so poorly?
Well, first, you know, Amar Kone should be ashamed of himself to come out and say we review. It means absolutely nothing. And then to make matter worse, for he, as a former finance minister or somebody in finance, who has a budget that is struggling to advise President Wakai to waive fees on petroleum. We understand that particular waiver we gave the corporations and importers $14 million windfall for the year, the fiscal year. That $14 million was already projected as part of the present budget. So now, how are they going to make up that $14 million in a budget that it is so tight? Why would you give the corporations, why would you give them a break? And then they turn around. Mr. Kamara says they're going to institute something called value added tax, VAT.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to my folks here at finance and government, and they say it's the worst form of taxation in the world. Because now you are taking the taxation from the corporation to the poor people. Value added taxation is taxes that people pay on purchases, on goods and services. So if you give the corporation a break, you waive their tariff, then you put taxes on value added. The money you are saving from the big people, you are passing that down to the little people. So it's a complete scam. I don't know where this guy.
But wait a minute now, Jerome. Value added tax I agree with you, it's a consumption tax.
That's correct.
That is assessed on the value added in each stage of production.
No,
but
if a consumer, it passed down to consumers. Whatever value taxes, like in the United States, we pay our federal and state taxes, right?
Yeah.
Then when you go to the supermarket, you pay taxes on food. You go buy gas, you pay taxes on gas. So everywhere you go, they tax you. In addition, that's what now they're trying to implement in Liberia. So now, every time you go buy your boni, you will pay taxes on it. You go buy your rate or you pay taxes on
Well,
it.
why they came up with this suggestion? Why they know it's going to cost the Liberian? First of all, wages have not gone up.
Nope.
There's inflation. In other words, there's a natural increase in the price of everything. The
Commodity
Liberian
nation
dollar is
worldwide. That's correct.
declining. The Liberian dollar is declining compared to the American dollar, again,
Sure.
making things more expensive.
That's correct.
So then why would you suggest, who are the economists suggesting now that we have a value-added tax to tax the poor Liberian people more money? Where is this idea coming from?
It came from the finance minister, Mr. Kamara. And when I saw it, I went to the folks in the federal government here and everything, wanted to actually deal with, besides the deficit, besides the dictionary definition of VAT, I wanted to ask actual policymakers what this is. And I was able to reach out to the Waka administration, some of the advisors. This man, they call Nyakwe Zeze. Nyakwe Zeze is an economist, he's a CPA, he's a finance person. He's always writing about the World Bank and their pitfall. And he, in turn, wrote something that he sent. I don't know if you saw it, but he said he himself could not understand why will someone at this in the African continent, the African setting, do a value-added tax for poor people? How is that possible that you're going to pass the $14 million you are saving from petroleum and all of that? How do you pass it down to the regular person who does not have a job? In fact, how are you going to do that in Liberia? Are you going to go to the people that are selling food on the sidewalk and tell them, your boni, you gotta add 1 cent on it for the government? You're gonna go to the market and tell the women, if you're selling your palm oil to someone, your color to someone, or your this to someone, you gotta add 2 cents there for government. That's why. How is that possible?
You know, when we know that the finance ministry is supposed to try to collect more revenue. That is one of their goals. So we have advised before that you should expand your tax base.
That's correct.
But expanding your tax base is not making the goods and things more expensive for the poor man.
No.
Expanding your tax base is encouraging industries, right, to flourish where you can be able to tax them eventually. Right now there are complaints about the excessive duties at the National Freeport.
That's correct.
And which is causing Liberians and other people alike to go to neighboring countries, ship their goods through there, and bring them to Liberia. This Kamara, according to many, is such a great economist. Doesn't he know that sometimes a quick dime is better than a slow buck? In other words, if we reduce these excessive taxes, people will bring more goods in the country, and in the event, you will eventually collect more than trying to carry it so high, and then now people are routing the goods to different places.
But that's what this has come to, and I'm a living example. I told you last October I sent my homework to Liberia. They did an estimate for me. They told me it was going to cost me between $18,000 and $2,000 to have the car free from the Port Authority. I sent my car. When I got there, they squeezed $7,000 out of me to free my car.
$7,000.
$7,000 US to free my car. This is honor our own government, honor the WIAC government.
Yeah, if I was some kind of poor man would say, y'all keep the car.
But when these guys came in and they were talking about addressing these issues, on one of our shows, I said, if Joseph Boakai, the Unity Party can come in, because Elliot Snow admitted that the deal with HTM was so terrible that he apologized because he was one of those that signed that particular deal with Joseph Boakai being president of the Senate. They all signed off on it. So when Joseph Boakai came and said, we are going to look at, we're going to review all of these and give the people some added break, even though we were in the opposition, but it was one great sign that it will relieve the Liberian people, because there's a tons of post shipping things to Liberia. And like you said, they're just leaving it there.
Exactly.
They leave it there because they can't afford to free their container or their stuff, and they just leave it there. I want to
ask you, Mr. Gaiman, is it because these so-called economists who have gotten all their Ivy League degrees and papers, you know, it's one thing learning the theory, somebody's theory in class and regurgitating it on a piece of paper, than actually putting it in action? Are you telling me that these Ivy League economists really not trying to solve the problem? They in fact are exacerbating the poverty of our people?
Okay, but here we are. You know, when we are talking these things, people think because we were in opposition, but look at the fact. Look at what is left in the government budget for capital investment, for investment in our nation. For instance, if you say agriculture is the pillar of your administration, the arrest program, agriculture is number one. And then you put no money, virtually no money in agriculture, because we all agree you can expand the economy through agriculture. We all agree. But basically, it was just, like you said, political talk. If you have an economy or budget with only $57 million left for capital improvement, human development, everything, investment, you are not investing in anything. $57 million for the entire nation.
Not enough.
93% of your budget.
You know what they claim? They claim that agriculture is getting donor assistance other than budgetary assistance. So that is why not that much was allocated for them. That is some of the claim.
Yeah, but Mr. Eastman, you and I, you know, we are too smart for someone to tell you. Your budget, your nation is run on your budget.
Correct.
You cannot sit there and say somebody else is going to do it for us. You have no control over those people. There is nothing in writing to tell you that, listen, these people are going to do it. It is just political talk. It's an excuse, and it's an insult to our intelligence for someone to come here and tell you, we did a budget, we didn't take care of hospital, we didn't take care of anything because somebody else is going to do it. In our nation that we are governing, you feel comfortable somebody sitting on our platform to tell us?
It's just like seeing you got a house and your wife and your children there, you say no, but somebody else will feed our other child.
Yep, somebody gonna feed these children. All I have to do is just hang around.
Thank you.
Even if you went to the World Bank and you went to the African Development Bank or IMF, and whatever it is signed as a contract, it has to be reflected in your budget. If USAID is going to make supplementary $50 million or $10 million towards your budgetary assistance, you still have, because when it says sources of income, you know you got to do the income and the revenue. Revenue is where the money is coming from. Okay?
Yes.
So on the revenue side, what are you going to put there? You're going to say somebody else is going to do it? You see how these people behave?
But why? They claim they went to school. They came. Why are they look at Manfred Doppel making very good comments here. The major economies are driven by innovation.
That's correct.
Without innovation, we are doomed. We
Yes.
will remain primitive, hand to mouth. He has the same belief we have. Why are we not investing in our people, in our
Because,
facility?
this guy from South Africa said something the other day, Julia Malema. He said, why would I support an 80-year-old man, 90-year-old man to tell me that he will set the vision for my future? He has no future. He has no investment in the future. He is in his future. The only thing he sees is himself.
Before I go on to some other things, Amara Conan wrote. Actually, I think he's still one of the sharpest tools in the box. I really do believe so.
But listen, you see, don't fall for all the flashy writing. Let's see what they call outcome. If he was that sharp, he would have told Joseph Walker, do not do this waiver. We are losing $14 million that we can't account for. The budget that we submitted, that $620 million is inclusive of the $14 million. Now you have to go back to the budget and take that $14 million, which would be a shortfall.
What he said he's writing. He said he wrote a letter for an immediate investigation into sand mining in Liberia waters by Chinese and their Liberian partners that is causing environmental degradation and the mineral status of the black sands that were recently circulated on social media. We've been talking about this. The Chinese are mining sand. You leave where China come mine sand in Liberia, who they mining sand for? Us?
Yeah, but
or are they exporting it?
Yeah, but listen, that this is a distraction that Amar Kone is trying to talk about here. We are talking about this major issue of $14 million evaporating in no time under his watch. He didn't advise the president. Then you go to sand mining. That is a distraction. It's a distraction. In fact, who gave these Chinese people the right to come into our country? These people started their networks since 2005. And they are dominating, getting even bigger and bigger and bigger. So if these people are this powerful, why are we giving a tax break to corporations when we don't have the tax base? Why? Does that make sense?
Not certain corporation. And you know what I found out from my intelligence source? The kind of machinery those guys have for this sand mining, they're not sand alone.
No. Come on. But even let's say, look at your metal steel, your Lamco. When these people are, when they are digging up an entire mountain, okay? Do you think is when a rock they take everything else that is in that mountain?
And that's where we have our diamond deposits.
Your diamond, your bauxite, your platinum, you name it, whatever it is that we need.
Look like we got a little bit internet problem with you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you, Jerome. You want to go in and come out? We can't hear you. Go in and come out. Go in and come out. Look like we got a little bit technical, difficulty. Let Mr. Gaiman try to come back in, and we will soon have him. You kind of wonder, what are we doing? It's not, if we know the problem, then why is it so difficult to address it? Why can't we get our act together? If other people can do it, what's so wrong with us? Is it because when they get there, they are distracted by selfish gain, or when they're in a position, all those things that they thought they could do, they find it's not so easily feasible. What happened when we get put people there we don't realize enough benefit? What is it? Well, I can tell you my theory on why we don't see as much benefit. To change a way people do things, like you and myself, you've been making your bed every day. You get up your bed, you make up your bed on the right side, and you don't fold the pillow, you don't do anything to the pillow. Then every day you make up your bed one way. For me to teach you, for you to change how you make up your bed, I have to come up with a whole new system to show you how to make up your bed. But if you're gonna use that same system that they've been using, you will get the same results. You have to change things. That's how you get different. My man, we hear you back. Can you say something so we know we got you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay.
I want you to comment on one more thing.
Okay.
He also said he wrote a letter to co-signed by Abraham Darius Dillon, calling for the president to take actions in the NASCAR new SUV purchase saga. Reprimand the NASCAR Director General for purchasing 5 Land Cruisers at $117,000 apiece on instructions of the Minister of State and Chief of Staff to the President. Wait now. I want to understand. The senators are writing the president to chastise the Director General of NASCAR and the Minister of State because they allegedly bought 5 Land Cruisers. And so what if they bought a Land Cruisers, wasn't it for the president?
But
And if they bought a Land Cruiser, do they have the authorization to spend the NASCAR money like that?
there you go. Now that's the real question. The corruption was before Joseph Walker even took office. Grace Bay wrote Mr. Vermambus asking Vermambus to buy 5 Land Cruisers to be used for VIP for the inauguration. Obviously, it was, when we're talking about the government going backward, you remember when Ellen was in power, when she came to power, Morris Sotuma was using the presidential letterhead, and he would write and say, I spare the president. You got to do X, Y, Z, and he signs his own name. He didn't say the president, but I spare the president. And it got to the point where right this year and the international community got involved. And you remember he was removed. It's the exact formula that Grace Bay is using. The NASCAR folks who are in charge of our pension, our retirement, there is nothing in their own budget to buy themselves a car without being approved by their board.
Okay.
And the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs is demanding that they do so with a threat.
With a threat?
And the folks went and acquiesced.
What do you mean threat? What did he threaten?
Well, if the
president... remove you from the position?
Yes, the position, in America, they say you negotiate and speak from a position of strength. If the president's office is telling you to buy 5 vehicles because they want to use it for their guests.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you to say no?
Wow.
This is what he did. But what is puzzling here, and if Amara Corner is now hanging out with Dara Dillon, then we got some serious issues.
Why you say that?
Mr. Kamara, Amara Corner is in the Senate. He has the power and the authority to cite, to invite, to investigate. Why will he write the president, the executive, to do his work? His job is oversight.
Hmm.
To hold the difference between he and the executive. He is supposed to hold the executive responsible. Then you turn around, you tell the executive to go investigate herself. I mean, Eastman, I don't understand where these people, like the lady from the embassy said, these people can go to the United States, go to all the schools, get all the education. When they get back to the RIA, it looked at their CPU is erased. Everything is erased. They're back to
Not a
square one.
CPU, that the memory bank.
The memory bank is gone. The hard drive, they left it at the airport and they're back to square one, status quo. The senior senator from Bapolu joined another senator with big mouth, Dara Dillon, who said he's for the rule of law. And you see the executive doing something wrong, and you say the executive should go ahead and hold herself responsible.
But I say, Mr. Duopo is asking you a great question. He's asking you. He said, old wine's a new bottle. He said, in fact, Dewey Van Bammels left the country before the election and hasn't returned. Have you wondered why he hasn't been fired? But the deputy who was trying to protect his job was fired for gross insubordination to the president. These guys are what is called in Liberia 6 and 7.
You go that word go all the way back to way.
I know the team 6 and 7.
Yeah,
that meant he was coming for our Uno.
Yeah, when we were growing up, that's how the food used to be.
The team was 6 and 7.
Yeah, whether you twist it up and down, it's the same thing. Okay. Now here you are. If you say someone is being for asking questions and trying to stay by the rule, you fire the person for insubordination. Can you imagine?
But the man who got a job, who not even in the country,
you didn't fire him.
You fire him.
Then
and you replace him. And now if you find out other people, but you replace the man,
No.
But you think I finish buying you 5 vehicles, you think you replace me?
That's the whole thing now. You see, so look, not just regular vehicle, but $117,000 per. And we got no money. We got no money for agriculture. We got no money for roads. We got no money for health. We got no money for anything. But we have money to buy do you know what $117,000 would do?
It's astronomical. We don't need that. Why don't we understand austerity measures? When your country is broke, okay, you don't need to buy a $117,000 car. You will need one good, maybe Toyota 4Runner. You don't need the Land Cruiser. Okay, maybe one for the president. Why you have to buy 5?
Look, I just drove by our city government here. When you go into the parking lot, you see all the pickup trucks, the full F-150. Okay, those are the trucks. Everybody, you use it. Afterward, you park it. You take your car, you go home. Why will everybody in government have a car, take the car home after work, use it for their private use, and then there are times when you remember we used to see the people used to be taking picture of the government car with bags of coal. People going up country, bringing coal. People selling coal. I mean, they use it for their private businesses, and all of that. So what I'm saying here is, look, I have never seen corruption this high from the top to the bottom. I told you this from the beginning when I saw the president appointing members of the Senate to be on his vetting committee. And there was no uproar. How is it possible that the legislative branch of government are supposed to hold the government feet, are supposed to do the vetting, are supposed to be doing the confirmation, are the same people that are nominating their wives, their cousins, their brothers, their sisters? I mean, I've never seen it as bad as everybody was. It has never happened. As bad as it has been, you and I have been, 70s, 80s, 90s, even during the Doe era, we have never seen the line between the powers to be this blurred. In fact, they erased the line. There's no more line between the executive, the different branches of government now. They all merged into one.
You know, you make a good point. And the reason being, these guys, remember, they formed a coalition after UP and dumped the CPP. They formed their own little coalition with Yombly, Dara Dillon. They were the rejects from the Liberty Party, right? And they formed this union. But within this union, we can see that they're still exercising power.
Yes.
So, do you think it's going to continue like this, or do you think it's going to come to a time that some people will be sidelined? Because if I remember with Doe, with his PRC, if I remember with the PRC, right? When Doe first got there, they had some serious power brokers. Falavani was one of them. Westin, what another? Of course, they had and Tom Kuengba, and Nicholas Poirier. In fact, even Nelson told them they had a whole lot of people with power.
Yeah.
Then Doe started manipulating and getting rid of some of his challengers, small. Executed Westin. He told, I think, or 3 or 4 of them went with that group. He went after Kuengba, went after Nicholas Poirier, and Falavani. He probably killed himself in a car accident. So he slowly consolidated power under himself. Do you think this is what we're going to see eventually, that the power will be consolidated on a 1 or 2 persons?
No, because during the military regime, you had a strong man, young, energetic, strong at the top. Here, you have a president in absentia. You have a president whose sole responsibility and desire was for him to become president and lead a small thing in the coffer for his children. And he said he would, if it caused him to dance with the devil, he would do it to have his aim accomplished. That his goal have never been to better the country, or never to develop the infrastructure. You and I know in the United States, 2 weeks ago, President Biden and the United States government gave the microchip corporations $11 billion to relocate to Arizona, to create jobs, to expand the economy, to give them some power in developing microchip. That's how you expand the economy. That's how you create jobs. And in return, you get taxes coming back to the government. But you don't invest in the country. You don't invest in small businesses. So you are not adding anything to the economy, to the economic base. Who's going to pay taxes?
Hmm.
In the United States, you have the Chamber of Commerce, who is a partner in what we do here. They have incubators. Their job is to tutor, to mentor, to create jobs, to train, to make sure that small businesses stay on their feet. And already, do you have a system in Liberia where the government is actually putting money to the young folks, innovators, to say, you know what? There's a young man in Liberia. I forgot his name, but he decided to use the pump canal to do a lot of other stuff. You think the government will partner with someone like that? As a young man, here is $5 million. Expand your business, but you got to hire another 500 people. That's how you expand the base. They didn't do that. You got a lot of young, progressive, young men and women in Liberia that got good corporations going, but they are struggling.
Yes.
Because nobody is investing in them. All they need is just a little push. So everything is a mom and pop business. If Jimmy Eastman started a cold water business, it comes from his pocket. The day he goes broke, the business dies. There is no incentive. There's no, we heard that the banks in Liberia, they give you money. They can only give you a commercial loan for 6 months. And after 6 months, it is 100% due. So a little guy like Jimmy Eastman, where do you get that capacity to turn whatever they give you around in 6 months?
Right.
So if these guys if Amara Corner wanted to impress me, those are the areas you should be talking about. And don't come and just say, well, I wrote a letter. No. He was on the committee that was violating the Constitution by being part of the executive. He was one of the vetting people. He didn't tell the president that this is illegal. You are usurping a position of another branch of government. He didn't do that.
I think I like your point that why didn't he summon the director general, since they have power over oversight? Why did he have to write a letter? I think that is a good point you made over there.
And not only did he didn't even write a letter to his plenary, to his colleagues. He didn't appeal to Yomdi Kanga to begin and to initiate an investigation. He sent it to the president. The man who just broke the law, you told him to investigate himself. So these are the charade and the shenanigan that they think that we are all stupid, okay, by writing flowery letter with big grammar and all that, and say people are doing that. Is that when we are talking about deliverables, there's something called outcomes. What did you do? How can we measure the outcome? You can't come in 90 days, we review this. You review it, and what did you do? What is the outcome? What is it that you are doing? The ATM terminal, we are dying. People are dying. The fees are exorbitant. That way, if you alleviate the tariff, the break that you are giving to those guys, you should have given it to the consumers, the people who are bringing their containers in. But you didn't get the container people, the regular people, the customer, you didn't get any break, but you give it to the ATM folks, the people who are robbing us already.
You know, Mr. We will pick this thing up on Thursday. This has to be a brief one.
Yes, let's do it.
I'm so glad you joined me. Your points are well taken. Folks, we will do some research and we'll come back and we'll ask these tough questions. We're going to invite Mr. Corner, if he will grace our stage. We want to know
Mr. Duopo too. Mr. Duopo, we call him.
Oh yeah, yes, we have to call him back.
Manfield Duopo, yes.
He's one of our
in fact, he worked at NASCAR. He was one of the top guys over there.
Mr. Duopo, this is an open invitation to you. We know that you know the ins and outs of NASCAR, and we like to invite you to expound on this issue. Where are we going? Is the people retire money safe?
But Jimmy, you work in Liberia LEC for a while. You should be worried about all the money you pay over there. It even have a record on you.
They wipe us out when Troy and Kim, they say, all of y'all come for your money and move for here.
What?
I was not there. I was not there. So
and they blame everything on the wall.
Yeah.
But another thing we need to look at real quick, which is a major breaking news. I was just listening to the House. They have summoned the present and past LACC bosses to come and give reasons why the former president, President Weah's asset declaration was leaked to the public on Spoon TV.
Yes, I remember that.
And there was a revelation today that is a bombshell. The lady said, we have investigated and found out the source of the leak.
Okay.
She said, our former boss, Mr. Verdier, through communications that we have, requested 5 asset declarations to be pulled, given to him personally.
Okay.
And those 5 people, and I think it was one of the representatives, but who are the 5 people that whose asset that Mr. Verdier took? He said he requested the President George Minor Weah, the Vice President Joel Howard Taylor, Finance Minister Samuel Twe, Minister of State for Presidential Affairs Natana McGill, and the Mayor of Monrovia Jefferson Koji. Those are the 5 assets.
But wait now, who is Verdier that has the authority to request such records? He was
the LACC boss on
correct.
On a Elling, and then when the CDC won in 2018, he had, I think, 1 or 2 more years left on his tenure contract. Mm-hmm. And the CDC honored that. So he spent, I think, 2 years under the CDC government. So it was he that took the record, demanded the record of those folks.
But wait, he's not there anymore.
No. But, so what they are saying, that information that he took with him is what is in the public domain now.
Okay. So we got to treat him like Trump. Some of that information is classified.
No, but they all are. The law says those are classified documents because the law never said you can publish. It says you have to declare your asset, but you don't have to declare. You don't have to publish it. So it's a classified information.
Yeah.
that he took.
We'll bring that when we talk. We'll bring Mansfield on Thursday.
Great.
We'll talk about that. But what happening with Kroma and Fadiga in the DEA?
Great.
Kroma who brought Fadiga, as I understand.
This is a lot of testosterone going around there. Fadiga feels that he said he had worked with the federal government here. He has his own way of doing things. Kroma, who finds himself to be a gangster, feels he can do anything he wants to do. In fact, his brother said they were in a meeting when he stood up and said, I brought Mr. Fadiga as my deputy, and I'm going to mold him as I see fit. That's what it is. How do you introduce a new employee to the company and say, I brought him and I'm going to mold him into my shape the way I want him to be? That was the beginning. And then now we are finding out that drugs been busted coming in through the airport.
Yes.
Addressed to the DEA boss. So the man confiscated, according to what I heard, confiscated the drug, fire the gentleman or replace the young man who was in charge, who received the drug, and waiting for the boss himself, they replace him. So he, Mr. Krumah, came and reinstated this guy instantaneously.
Yeah, I heard about the guy, and the guy was the one who had always been implicated with all these consignments.
That's correct. So Fadiga found out that this was an inside job, and he needed to get rid of this guy. So now Krumah is saying he doesn't have the power. Fadiga works for him, and Fadiga has no power to appoint, to hire, and fire.
They talk about insubordination. They talk about that and say he wanted to get rid of him for insubordination.
Yes, because as the operation guy, you caught a major drug, say 10 bundles, big, they show it like a bag, 10 bags of marijuana. And you say you want to take it to the DEA boss? How come? No drug, if it's a busted drug, it has to be recorded, it has to be put in the system, and then it has to be locked up and secure.
Yep.
You can't take it to the DEA boss's house. So Fadiga had a point, but it looks like he is not going to fit into that system, and I don't think they're going to get along. But it's a major breaking news, and we look forward to following up on that.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're sorry for that we couldn't do a long show today. We have a few little things, but we'll be back here Thursday, 1 o'clock and 5 o'clock Liberian time. Be ready.
Right after work in Liberia. Turn in.
Okay, we'll see you then. In
Thank
the
you.
meantime, we are Liberians.
Thank you.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people.